Hey, so I want to try to explain to you how to play this game that I wrote up this weekend to try to get us to get a handle on issues regarding global fisheries and aquaculture operations that are popular here in Korea and other places. So here's how the game is played. Okay, so it's all done with dice. So the first thing is everybody needs to download a dice app if you don't, unless you have dice at home. Okay, you're going to need probably up to, well, you might need quite a few dice. Okay, so what you're going to do is this. First, you had to choose someone who's in charge of seeing how many fish are in the world's ocean. All right. So one of you has to volunteer to take on that job, and you've got to do some record keeping in order for this to have meaning in terms of environmental science. So this sheet is the one that looks like this. It says fish population record sheet. So one of you has to be in charge of that. All right. Now, let's just say you have how many fish you start in the ocean depends on how many people you have. So let's just say if you have two people, you have 75, three people, 100, four people, 125. Let's just say you have three people. So what you would do is you would go to this sheet here and you'd say, well, since we have three people, we're going to start off with 100 fish is our starting population. Okay. Now, the next thing we do is each player represents a country, and that country has a certain population of people that need to be fed. Everybody starts off with a population of four. So each person has responsibility for their own data sheet for their country. All right. And so you see, everybody starts off with a population of four, 4 units of people to feed, and two boats with which to catch fish. Now, the idea is each boat you have is how many dice you have to roll. So if you have one boat, you get to roll one dice. If you have two, you get to roll two. And this number of boats changes as the game progresses. So the idea is the more boats you have, the more fish that you're able to acquire. Okay. Now, and the name of the game really is to see who can end with the most fish. Whoever ends with the most fish is the winner of the game. Now, to see who goes first, just everybody rolls two dice, and whoever has the highest goes first, and then you just go clockwise. Okay. Now, let's just talk about how the game is played. So here's how the game is played. All right. So when it's your turn, here's what you're going to do. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to roll to see how your population changes. So if I look here, table two, I roll. So let's just say I roll 4. If I roll a 4, it says, okay, my population goes up by 1. So I go to my data sheet. Here's my data sheet. Oops. Um, here's my data sheet. Okay, sorry about that. I go to my data sheet, and my population went up by 1. So my population is now 5. Okay. Now, here's the thing. If my population gets bigger, so let's just say the next turn I do it and my population gets even bigger. So let's say the next time my population goes to 6. Aha. Now, when I get to 6, my number of boats is going to go up to 3. Now, let's say my population goes up again and it goes up to 7. I'm still at 3. But the next turn, my population goes up to 8, let's just say. Then now for every 2 boats, I'm sorry, for every 2 units of population, I get another boat. Now, let's say the next turn, what happens is I lose population. I go down to 7, and then I go down to 6, and then I go down to 5, and then I go down to 4. Oh my gosh, my population is dropping. But you know what? I get to keep my boats. Don't I can lose my boats. You know, there's bad luck can happen to make me lose my boats, but I don't lose it for population. So you gain boats by gaining population, but when you lose population, you don't lose boats. Okay, so let me just undo all these things I've just done. Let's get back to this. Okay, now, all right, so that's the first thing you do. The very first thing you do is you consult this table. You can you consult this table here to see what happened to your population, and my population went up to 5. Went up by 1. Okay. Now the next thing you do is you roll again. Okay. Now after I check on my population, then I roll to see what fate has in store for me. So this time I'm going to this table here, table 4, as luck would have it. And let's just say this time I rolled a 4. Okay, and I rolled another 4. I go here. Luck is with you. You double your catch this round. Oh, okay. So however many fish I catch, I get twice as many. Awesome. Okay. So once I've done this, now I've done my 2 rolls. Now it's time for me to take my turn and go fishing. Okay. So now I have basically 2 dice. The reason I get 2 dice is because, if you'll recall, I have 2 boats. If I have a third boat, I get 3 dice, but I have 2 boats, I get 2 dice. So then I'm going to roll. And so let's just say what I rolled was 7. So what I would do then is first of all, on my data card, I would say fish caught. I caught 7 fish. Okay. My population is 5. I have to feed them. So of the 7 fish I caught, I had to give 5 to my population, which left me with a net change of 2 fish. So my current total is 2 fish. Okay. Now let's just say the next round comes along, and let's just say I caught 12 fish, and my population is still 5. Okay. So 12 minus 5, well, I've got like a net. Now I have 7 is my change, right? Is that right? 7 plus 5. Yep. Okay. So what my total right now? I'd be sitting on 9 fish. Now here's why that's important. I'm going to be able to take those fish that I have, and I can use them to buy advantage. But before I do that, I just want to talk about something here. As soon as I caught those 7 fish, what had to happen was this. The person who's in charge of the fish population for the world has to say, okay, player 1 just caught 7 fish. And let's just say, and then at the end of the next turn, that player 2 caught 11 fish. And then player 3 caught 4 fish, 5 fish. Okay. All right. No, let's be nice. Let's say let's say they caught 6 fish. Okay. So and there wasn't anyone here, so I leave that blank. So the total catch for that turn is going to be 18, 24. Okay. Now the total population of the ocean was 100. So the person has to then take these. My 3 players pulled 24 fish out of the ocean. So instead of having 100, I now have 76 fish in the ocean. At the end of that turn, after all players have gone, the person who's in charge of the fish population sheet, what they have to do is they have to consult this table here. The fish increase in population. Fish are a renewable resource, at least they should be. So this person's going to roll. They rolled a 4. Okay, since they rolled a 4, I go here and say, all right, 4, if you notice, was equal to 20 fish. So I gained back 20 of those fish. So I add 20 to this. So I now have 96 fish. So I'm going to start with 96 the next turn and go on from there. Okay. And that's how the game plays. And we're going to keep playing until one of 2 things. We either go through 15 turns, and then we say at the end of 15 turns, who's got the most fish, they're the winner. Now, you don't win by having boats, you win by having fish. Okay. But what's probably going to happen, or may happen, is your fish population goes to 0. If you run out of fish, you can't fish anymore. And so then you decide to see who ended up with the most fish. Now, the reason I said you win by fish, not boats, is because what you need to do here is this. When I go to this, I can now, at the beginning of each turn, I can go ahead and take an action. I can choose to take no action. I could spend 2 of my fish and upgrade my fish, which means I get to re-roll my lowest dice. So it was a 1, I re-roll it, I got a 6. That's pretty powerful for just 2 fish. Or I could invest 4 fish. I could give up 4 of my fish. And then what happens is I get to double whatever my highest roll is. My highest roll was a 5. Now it's a 10. That's pretty awesome. Okay. Or what I could do is if I have 8 fish, I could go ahead and buy a new boat, and then I get to roll more dice. Okay. And that's how you're going to end up winning the game. But keep in mind, if you're going to buy boats, you want to do it early on in the game, because you don't win by having boats, you win by having fish. So if you buy a bunch of boats at the end and you don't have a lot of fish, and someone else has more fish than you, they win. All right, I hope that explained it to you. If not, I'll jump back in. Okay, so let's just see how this